Welcome, fellow citizens of YouTube. I'm based and I decided to start making videos because I'm wasting like half my life or even more for studying this conflict, this war, and I might as well just explain something to people on YouTube. So, I don't like talking too much before starting videos, so let's start. What are we gonna talk about today? We are gonna talk about the Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, Konstantinivka defensive line going right through here. This is the most important defensive line this war, probably. This is the most fortified defensive line. There's defenses all over the south, all over here. These icons show defenses like trench networks, for example, but those are of course not all. But so you can have a picture of how many defensive structures are here. And yeah, if the Russians are gonna break through this line, they will probably be able to just roll through the rest of Donetsk because they don't have really other defensive lines here. They have this defensive line, but if they break through here, they can just encircle this. And they could make a defensive line out of this, but, those are really small villages. You can't make a defensive line out of that like you can make out of huge cities like Kramatorsk. So, this is probably the most decisive battle in this war. That's why it's important. So, let's start with Bakhmut. Bakhmut is essentially the gate to Kramatorsk, Slavyansk, and Konstantinivka. So, yeah, Putin is at the gates. How are they probably gonna capture Bakhmut? Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. I'm talking about ways the Russian army could try to capture this big defensive line here today, and ways the Ukrainians could prevent this. So, the Russians just captured, today or yesterday, this whole area here. They captured Novoluhansk and this thing here. So they will have an easy time. Look, there's only small villages on the south of Bakhmut. They will have an easy time moving up this road and moving up to Bakhmut and taking it from the south. They're already on the doors of Bakhmut on the east, and they're moving into Soledar on the north, and will probably attack Bakhmut from the north. So a classic Russian tactic, three ways attack, just like they did here in Severodonetsk, Lysychansk, just like they're doing here right now in this salient. They're doing this all the time. So yeah, you attack from three sides. You don't encircle the city because encirclements, first of all, are hard, and second of all, if the enemy is attacked on three sides but they have this road to retreat, they're gonna retreat at one time. And then you can shoot at them because they're traveling through this road and inflict severe casualties. And then they can tell their friends that are over here how horrible it was fighting the Russians and how fucking miserable they are and how incompetent their commanders are and whatever. They can just complain, and that brings down the morale of the other troops because they talk to each other. And if you encircle the city, they have no other opportunity than just surrender or death. And we've seen at the example of Mariupol, many Ukrainians chose death over surrender, and the Russians don't want that. That was a fucking pain in the ass for the Russians. So they don't want to repeat this. So they're always encircling cities from three sides and letting the enemy escape. And it works pretty well. And I'm really convinced they're gonna do the same with Bakhmut. So I think it will take a few weeks at least to capture Bakhmut, because they've not even captured Soledar and stuff like that. But I think it will happen at some time with the three-way operational encirclement. So then the gates are open to Konstantinivka. This road is open. This road is open. You see, those are really open fields. And if we can take something from this war, then Russians generally have a big advantage in open field battles and just small villages and stuff like that. They don't hold long against the Russians. And the Ukrainians are really, really good in city and forest battles, because the Ukrainians are mostly made up of infantry, because they don't have so many heavy weapons, heavy artillery, whatever, like the Russians. They're getting some from the west, but a Ukrainian commander said the Ukrainians have a inferiority in artillery rounds of like 10 to 1 or 15 to 1. So the Russians have a huge heavy weapon superiority, but heavy weapons are not so effective in cities, and the way Russians storm cities most of the time is just, let's say they want to capture this, they just flatten this entire area with artillery so that nothing is alive there anymore, and then they move in. The problem is the Ukrainians have so much infantry and cannon fodder that they just move the infantry into the rubble, and then the Russians have to spend their time again with killing those people, and then Ukrainians move their guys again into this. And yeah, you've seen that in Severodonetsk. So it's hard to storm cities for the Russians, so they just encircle it from 3 sides, obliterate it with artillery, so everyone is miserable out there until they retreat. Or they threaten a complete encirclement and then they retreat. So when they've captured Bakhmut, this way is open to Konstantinivka. And I think they're gonna focus on Konstantinivka, because it's the weakest link in this defensive line. You see here in Sloviansk is really, really heavily defended. Here's forests all over this place, and the Russians are not good in forests. And it's also got high ground, so I don't think they will gonna move into Sloviansk easily. Yeah, so we've got Bakhmut. So let's go to Seversk real quick. I'm not gonna say too much about it, but this salient essentially looks the same as the salient at Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. And I think they're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna threaten a encirclement. Probably they will capture Soledar, and yeah, then attack Bakhmut from the north, and also go along this highway and threaten an encirclement of Seversk, and then the Ukrainians will retreat from here, because there's no real point in holding on to this like they held on to like Severodonetsk. Yeah. So this and Bakhmut is gonna fall after some time. Then the decisive battle comes. The battle for Konstantinivka, Kramatorsk, and Slaviansk. What are the Russians gonna do? There's several ways the Russians could deal with this. It's gonna be a hard nut to crack. And I wouldn't be too sure that the Russians will be successful this summer with doing this. But yeah. An interesting thing nobody's talking about is the heavy Russian focus on Avdiivka. Where is it? Wait a second. Here's Avdiivka. This whole area. Wait, I'm gonna show another map here. At the purple line, this purple field is what Russia had before the war. So everything around the purple field is heavily fortified. This area is heavily fortified. They already broke through here at Popasna. The thing is, the combat here is essentially like World War I with technology, even more than at other areas. So advancing here costs many, many lives for the Russians, and they don't have too many of them. So they don't break through the whole front. They choose one point, concentrate their forces, and try to break through here. For example, here at Popasna, they did this here, broke through here, and then used this breakthrough to encircle Lysychansk. And yeah, they're doing the same thing here right now. And some Russian source today announced that they are starting to storm Avdiivka. And when they've stormed Avdiivka, they can use this road to move up here, and they won't have too much resistance because of there's no cities out here. Then they can encircle New York. Ukrainians really named their city New York in hopes of attracting tourists. Yeah, that's not gonna be a thing anymore. But yeah, they can encircle New York and Donetzk, and yeah, just move up to Konstantinivka from the south. If the Russians are crazy, they can even move down this road or whatever down here to Pokrovsk, and this is probably gonna be the next defensive line of the Ukrainians when the Russians capture this, and then they can preemptively damage and puncture this defensive line so the Ukrainians can't properly use it, and even maybe go through here and encircle Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, and Konstantinivka. Connected with Izium. That would be a really big move. The Russians weren't really successful at big encirclements this war, so I don't know if they're gonna do this. I highly doubt it. I don't think they're gonna do this, but it's a possibility. And that way they can just ignore the super fortified fortresses of Slavyansk and Kramatorsk, which are gonna be fucking crazy. Both of them have high ground, both of them are big cities, both of them have big industrial areas. Yeah. Both of them have really, really established defensive positions. So maybe you would want to go around that, But yeah, let's go back to the other map. So yeah, they're having a breakthrough here to threaten this from the south. When they've broken through Bakhmut, they will threaten this from the east. Maybe that they will even try to make an encirclement west of here, and this way make another 3-way operational encirclement to capture Konstantinivka. And that way they can puncture this and yeah, maybe just move around this. I don't know if this is gonna work, but they will probably try to do this. But maybe they will just move up here, try to attack Kramatorsk from the south, while they pin down the Ukrainian troops at Slavyansk and besiege them, and they will capture all of this territory, because as soon as Bakhmut and Seversk falls, they're gonna have a fairly easy time against these open fields. And the fortifications will also fall after sometimes. I think they will hold out for a long time, but they will fall eventually. And then the Russians will again be on the door at the south, here at the north, and coming here from the east, probably threatening an encirclement, making them retreat. I don't know if the Ukrainians are gonna retreat from Kramatorsk. I don't think so. I think they will hold on to this like fucking crazy. Because this is the most important defensive line. If they capture this and capture Donetzk, the Russians will either just roll through here, or they will focus on Kharkov or Mykolaiv, Kryvyi, and Odessa. And the Ukrainians certainly don't want to lose their southern coastline. They're really keen on keeping this and keeping access to water and trade, sea trade. So, I think the garrison in Kramatorsk will fight to the death. So, the Russians will probably just make a 3-way encirclement, maybe completely encircle them and just completely obliterate the city. Oh yeah, by the way, if they break through here, they can also try to go this way and just encircle this huge fortified area in Donetzk Oblast. Maybe connect this with this. Yeah. And capture this, and then they'll have an easier time encircling Kramatorsk. And it seems like that. It seems like they're just pinning them down here and trying an encirclement. I've said what I wanted to say. We're done. Stay gay. Bye.